Now that times have been getting pretty darn exciting in the crypto market, and it seems like fundamentally they have changed and we're seeing more sustainable pumps. A lot of people have been asking me, when should I take profit in terms of ADA? When should I be selling some of my position and taking that cash to the bank, right? And while I can't give you guys financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor. That's not what we do here on the channel. I can let you know a couple things I'm watching for very closely. These could be, in fact, very good indications of when we might see retracements in the market, when we might see tops. And we're going to talk about all that in this video. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So we're now at this point where the larger entities have kind of figured out the market cycle. What I mean by that is, historically speaking, in March through May in the year following the halving is when we typically see kind of a peak in the market. We see a retracement into the summer and things get kind of boring, and we hit this lull right before things get exciting in the fall and we go on these pretty significant rallies. Obviously, March, April, May, not that. They were not exciting at all. And now that we've gotten into June and July, we're finally seeing some pumps in the crypto market, some excitement ensue. And again, right now on a fundamental level, a lot of things are acting like we're headed into an alt season. It feels like an alt season. We're already in phase 2. ETH is outperforming BTC. These are all great signs that can lead us into obviously great altcoin performance, blue chips like ADA, and then obviously adoption leads us even further into this, right? Now, what I will say here is, this also might mean that our October top that we were talking about might not be the top at all. In fact, it's feeling very much like an extended cycle, and I want to show you guys exactly what I mean here. Now, before we get into that, first thing I want to say is that when we look at this ETH BTC chart, we have a lot of room to move. Okay, when we look back at last market cycle, ETH versus BTC didn't bottom until all the way around September of 2019, and then we obviously know that we went on this pretty significant rally to the upside. Now it's a question of where does this trend end, right? ETH is obviously outperforming BTC. ETH excitement is at its highs. Institutional money is starting to buy actually more Ethereum than BTC. So I think we're about to see this significant Ethereum surge, which is obviously good for altcoins. That is when we truly see altcoin excitement. That is truly when we see adoption in the crypto market. So now it's a question of, are we on a run from basically this 3180 level that we're at currently? And do we run up to, somewhere around 6,600, 6,500? Do we actually break this longer term trend here and basically try to touch this top at about 8,250? Those are the big questions that we have to ask ourselves. And then it's a question of time, right? Are we going to see, ETH go completely vertical like it did back here, where it made this run in just 42 days, right? That would be obviously probably more around this 6,500 level. Okay. And that actually would put us kind of around October, right? Then the question is, do we extend from there? Do we see a bigger, broader push into the early part of 2026? I think that along the way, we might have, some of these stepping stones, kind of like we did back here, that led us to a bigger move. But that's kind of where we're at right now. Obviously, this full vertical is looking pretty nice. BTC dominance, right? We're on the verge of obviously a bigger, more extended breakdown. We're fighting this 50-week moving average. That's a pretty significant sign. We've done that many times before until we finally got our big breach and breakdown there. This is also a question of time, okay? Because where it looks like things are going to try to head is all the way down to 50% if we're talking October. All right, this might be, again, a little bit more extended of a drop. We might see kind of like do something like that. But again, that might be what we're trying to do. But then the question is are we going to try to get to this longer term trend bottom, which is in fact rising, which puts us somewhere around, BTC dominance of like 42% or so, 42, 43%. And does that take all the way until Q1, Q2 of 2026? Those are some real questions that we need to be asking ourselves. Again, some things have changed a little bit. I said later this market cycle, we're probably going to see the end of the 4-year cycle, the introduction of institutional money and potentially getting into mass adoption have kind of changed those things. So those are some of the levels that I would watch really closely. But if we're looking at the charts in general, there are some opportunities to take profit along the way. I don't think that it's always going to be straight up and to the right like we're seeing right now. I think there will be periods of retracement. And one thing that I'm watching actually very closely in terms of ADA and other assets in the market is actually stochastic RSI. If you're not familiar with stochastic RSI, it's basically RSI with a momentum oscillator in there. And we can actually watch here as many times where this has ranged between overbought and oversold and overbought and oversold. And it's given us tons of opportunities to, in fact, take profit. In fact, last time we saw this reach the overbought range and flip actually to the bearish side, this was all the way back here on the week where ADA ran to $1.32. We can obviously see it ran all the way back down. And what you have to watch is there are times where this will kind of toy around and flip bullish and flip bearish. And then we can obviously see a pretty distinct flip here in basically the last week of March, where we obviously knew we bottomed here and then went on a nice rally up to about 86 cents, obviously flipped bearish there. But then obviously we can see this bottoming once again, basically that last week of June. And that's what led us on this extension we're at now. We can see this many times throughout history, guys, all the way back here in September of 2023, as we came down and hit this really oversold range, which was an opportunity to accumulate. And then we can see this run up basically all the way up to the early peak here, retracement back down. You guys get it, right? And this isn't perfect. It doesn't always play out exactly the right way. But if you look back through history, this is a really good indication of when it might be time to take some profits, when it might be time to think about just kind of layering out some of your position. You can even look at this during the last big bull run that ADA had. You guys can see the spike, right? And then big drop down right here. This is basically when ADA dropped from 17 cents down to about 13 cents, but then it obviously flipped when we went on a nice run back up to about 35 cents. So you got to watch these things pretty closely. I mean, the best way I will say in this market cycle, the thing that I've always done, I do less trading and more so holding, because I'm more of a longer term thinker. Because the problem is sometimes you can try to get cute and do that buy sell crap and you can get caught. The market can leave you behind. We've seen that happen to people many times before. People selling down here got caught by some good news and ADA ran almost 100% in a single day. All right. Back here, people got cute, thought they were being smarter than the market. Oh, ADA's going to hit 20 cents. And then boom, over the course of a couple of days, it was up in the 60-cent range. Same thing. Oh, that's where it's going to stop. And then over the course of the next week, it ran up over $1, right? That's just kind of where we're at. The big thing I will say here is that, we're so close to getting this push into mass adoption. The large entities have done such a good job of accumulating and taking advantage of retail fear in the market. They've rounded out their position. It's like we talked about in terms of the ADA whales. All they've done here in 2025 is stack. They've just continued to buy and buy and buy. Institutions buying and buying and buying. Enterprises, and so on and so forth, right? You guys get the idea. It's because, again, we're still so early in a market that is currently in its infancy that it's very tough to discern what it's going to look like just a couple years down the road. Okay. That's why I thought it was kind of funny. You got a lot of those negative comments. People thinking that I was a moon boy or talking about insane prices in my how high can ADA price run video I did yesterday. This is how it's possible. It's because there's still so much capital and so many people that are going to enter the market that sometimes it just pays to be a more long-term thinker. But those are some of the things that I'm watching for. I'm definitely going to be saying when I'm going to be taking profit. Again, if you guys do want access to, what I'm buying and selling on the daily, you guys can check out my Patreon. There's a link in the description below that gives you access to my Discord. We have a chat going on every single day there. It's blowing up my phone and my computer right now. So yeah, that's what I got for you guys. Did want to show you as well here too. Still haven't made any changes in terms of my long positions. Still have my XRP long open. That's 184%. My SHIB long is doing very well as well. That's actually up 250% currently. And obviously my ADA long, that's the one that's just crushing them all. 570%. Again, if you guys do want to check out BTCC or Margex, there are referral links in the description below. You can earn up to $10,000 in deposit and trade-in bonuses. Just understand that there is risk with trading on leverage. So I appreciate you guys as always. Hopefully that provides a little insight as to what I'm looking at. But let me know your thoughts. When do you guys plan on taking profit? Are you focusing more on price or time? But have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.